Good morning, and welcome to the opening ceremony of the 9th edition of the World Chamber Congress. My name is Daniele Lucca, and I'm very pleased and I'm proud to be your Master of Ceremonies, the Master of Ceremonies of this important event. First, before the starting of the official speeches, I would like to introduce and please welcome all of them. The President of Torino Chamber, Vincenzo Ilotte. The Torino City Mayor, Piero Fassino. Chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce, Terry McGraw. And Chairman of the ICC World Chambers Federation, Peter Mihawk. Good morning, gentlemen. Let's start right away by asking you to please welcome to the podium the President of the Torino Chamber, Vincenzo Ilotte.
Buongiorno a tutti e benvenuti. Benvenuti a Torino. I think that after a few days spent in Italy, probably you learn a lot of Italian words, so I will not translate what I just said to you, by the way, which means good morning and welcome in Torino. During my short introduction, I will try to teach you some other word. So the first one is mondo, which means world. Today, we can firmly and proudly say that all the world is represented. And so I can say, benvenuta Africa, benvenuta Asia, benvenuta America, benvenuta Europa, and benvenuta Oceania. You are more than 1,500. I think that this morning a little bit less. Probably someone fall asleep. This is also explaining our delay in the entrance. We were hoping that the wake-up clock would work. So you came, I was saying, more than 1,500 people. And you came from all over the mondo in order to discuss and work on the future of our enterprises. The second word is Torino. It's an easy word, Turin, our wonderful city. As you probably know, Torino was founded by the Romans, so we're talking about many centuries ago. At the time, it was called Augusta Taurinorum. More recently, has been the first capital of Italy, and today it's 230,000 enterprises, generates a GDP of approximately 70 billion euro. We are among the regions in Italy that invest more in research and development, and we have a strong manufacturing tradition. During these days, someone of you asked me an interesting question. But Torino is only Fiat. I think this is a good question. And I can proudly say that Torino is not only the capital of the automotive industry, because we generate more than 50% of the turnover in this field. But it's also the capital of different fields, which often are not so well known. So first of all, aerospace, aluminum, aperitifs. We invented in our city the aperitif. This is something also fantastic, and I hope that you will take advantage of this during these days. The Baroque architecture, chocolate, coffee. One of our sponsors is Lavazza, which is by far the largest coffee producer with more than 50% of the Italian market. It is from our city, from Torino. Design is the capital of innovation, is the capital of mechatronics and robots, is the capital of sports and soccer. It's not the world capital of soccer, but we were almost close. You can find also bio and nanotechnology, cinema, environment, ICT, luxury goods, wines. And all this is seasoned with amazing museums, like the Museo Egizio, Il Polo Reale, La Venaria, where we are going to have our gala dinner, La Gamme, il Castello di Rivoli, la Fondazione San Rettore Baudengo, il Museo del Cinema, and so on. Many fantastic theaters. Tonight you are going to see the Royal Theatre. You will see it's really a jewel of our city, and I'm happy that tonight we'll host you there for a nice cocktail. We have also lots of parks and top universities. Our mayor, Piero Fassino, always says that Torino became a university town, and I think this is really true. But you also may not know that in Torino was born the smallest utility car in the world, was designed and built the first electronic desktop computer, was created the MP3 format, was invented the first solar power city car, the first hydrogen power airplane in Europe. So you can see that my role of promoting our city and our enterprises is quite easy, because we have really a lot of excellence to promote all over the world. So coming to our Italian words, so I've been talking about Mondo, Torino, and now the third one is Congresso. It's another one, Congress. So in the globalization area, networking is the key word, and our Congresso represents, for all of us, a unique opportunity to share best practices, to develop new partnerships, and to cooperate in innovative projects. The Chamber of Commerce, they want to stay close to their companies, which are forced to continuously reinvent their strategy. All the pressure which is on our companies oblige all the companies to reinvent themselves every day. And for such reason, we want to rethink as chambers our roles, our organization, the kind of service which we want to provide to our members. And this important change cannot be done alone. We need to do it together in order to cover the global needs of our companies. Our companies are not anymore local, they need to be global, and so for such reasons it's important that we really have a strong network. And right to the fourth word, grazie, thank you. The list is long, but please give me a few seconds. The first one, thank you to our sponsors, of course, both national and international. Grazie to our former president, Alex Barberis, which is here. Without him, we would never have it. Grazie, Alex. Grazie to our mayor, Piero Fassino. I think he's the best ambassador which our city could have had. We are really lucky. Thank you, Piero. Thank you to all the team who have been working hard during this year. It has been really hard working, and I want really to thank all of them, coming both from ICC, WCF, and our Chamber of Commerce, and all the people involved around. And thank you to ICC and WCF who trusted in our bid and have worked with us on the organization of the Congress. And at the end, thank you, all of you, for honoring us with your presence here. I arrive now to the last word. Che le danze abbiano inizio. Let's get the show on the road. Thank you very much, and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Ilotte. And now it's the time to hear the welcoming words of our first citizen, our mayor, the Torino City Mayor, but that is also the president of the Italian Mayors and former Minister of International Trade. Let's welcome to the podium Piero Fassino.
Dear friends, dear guests, dear President, Madam and Sir, welcome to Italy. I'll bring to you the greetings of our Prime Minister, Matteo Renzi, of the Italian government, and of our all mayor of our country. We live in the globalization, in a world of open markets and of the global development, a world that offers huge opportunities, as highlighted by over 3 billion citizens of developing countries that in the last 20 years have entered into consumers' market and the market economy. A world that presents us new challenges as climate changes, migration, human social differences, and the need to offer to each human being job, salary, and welfare certainties. And above all, we need to guarantee certainties of a future to new generation. At the same time, we live in a world that knows wars and conflicts. For this reason, we all have the responsibility to build a world of peace, of certainties, of prosperity, of development, of growth for everybody. In this direction, move the agenda for a sustainable development that the United Nations and its Secretary General are pointing in place. In this scenario, I think the chambers of commerce and the world of enterprise have a crucial role to promote, to increase investment, job, growth, and prosperity for everybody. For this reason, I think your Congress is very, very important. It's very, very important that give us a good opportunity to discuss crucial issues for our future. And I think your Congress can give us many indications to work, to job in the future for this goal. Torino has underlined, the President Ilotte, is a city that is a good example how in this moment the world changed. For 1 century, Torino was a factory town, a manufacturing productive city, one of the main engines of the industrialization and development in our country. This place was, in the past, one of the main factories in the industry of the car. Now this place is, at the same time, a fair, a center of congress, a center of services, is a center of university studies and other activities. In the last 20 years, Torino changed many. We continue to be an industrial city. The industry is the main pillar of our economy. But at the same time, we are more and more a center of excellence in research, technology, innovation. We are a great university town with 2 universities of high level, 100,000 students, 13% foreign. We are a capital of culture. The city invests many in culture, 100 million of euro each year. And for this reason, more and more Torino today is a touristic destination. The profile of our city is largest. And I think this is a good example how changed our world, because this new profile of development is not only a character of Torino, but at the same time in many other cities we know the same way. For this reason, we see your Congress because I think this Congress can give us many reflection and indication for our initiative and our future. And for this reason, we are very, very glad that you choose to develop to our city for your Congress. I wish in this day you can you can profit of the many opportunity of the culture that our city give you. In any case, I wish you come back frequently in Torino, and always we host, we receive with sympathy and with friendship. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Fassino. And now I have the pleasure to call to the podium the chairman of the ICC World Chambers Federation, Peter Mihawk.
Grazie. Buongiorno a tutti. Good morning. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is really a great pleasure to address you today here in Torino for the 9th World Chambers Congress. Honorable Piero Fassino, Mayor of Torino, Terry McGraw, Chairman of ICC, and Vincenzo Ilotte, President of Torino Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Crafts and Agriculture, very long. Our next 3 days together offer us unique opportunity to examine the current priorities and latest developments affecting our extensive and influential network under the theme Community, Identity, Vision. I am convinced that after these 3 days, all of you will agree with me that the Congress was very good prepared by our host, the Torino Chamber, and our WCF staff from Paris. Therefore, I want to thank them for their hospitality, attention to detail, and generosity, because you know very well that it is not easy to meet all the expectations of all demanding business people and chambers leaders from around the world. Also, I would like to express my personal thanks to Piero Fassino, the Mayor of Torino, for his support during the whole preparation of this great event. And naturally, special thanks to our common friend, Alessandro Barberis, the past president of Torino Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Crafts and Agriculture, who was the initiator of the idea of World Chambers Congress to be held in Torino, and who was able to turn this idea into the successful reality. So please, thank them all with a hearty round of applause to show our gratitude. Ladies and gentlemen, the World Chambers Federation is the champion of the worldwide community of over 12,000 chambers. For more than 50 years, we at WCF have been using this network, our knowledge and our know-how to keep pace with your evolving needs and those of your respective business communities. Chambers play a pivotal role in the growth of the private sector. As a backbone of all economies, small and medium-sized companies in particular count on chambers to ensure sound policies from governments are implemented. That's why we make it our business to strengthen your businesses. We believe in the power of the chamber movement to spur economic growth, prosperity, and sustainability, from grassroots to the global level. But to access global markets and contribute more effectively to economic growth, local businesses require an encouraging business environment. And for this, they look to chambers of commerce and industry. Why? Because for more than 400 years, chambers have been the leading business organization within their communities, supporting the entrepreneurship, advocating policies that improve the conditions for doing businesses, realizing potential of companies, and finally today, helping them face new challenges from climate change to cybercrime, and all while promoting ethical standards of practice and sustainability. Through our work to promote business best practices and provide quality services, chambers have built a reputation of trust. It is this mark of distinction and quality that we are committed to strengthening. At World Chambers Federation, we take this mission to heart, promoting and protecting the role of the chambers as an effective intermediary between governments and businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, during this Congress, we will unveil 2 sets of principles that you have empowered us to produce through this kind of collective work. Our Chamber Declaration and our new guiding principles to defend the rights of entrepreneurs. The Chamber Declaration summarizes all the basic principles of the World Chambers Federation. This document presents WCF as a network, one which provides innovative and relevant services in order to strengthen its members, and one which helps companies to discover new horizons, to operate on the basis of ethical and sustainable business practices. This declaration encourages chambers to continue their efforts to ensure fair and efficient business regulation and taxation, promote the protection of intellectual and private property rights, promote an educational system that prepares people for employment and provide vocational training, provide a lead role in the internationalization of companies, and finally, help companies to adapt to a changing environment. In the declaration, besides other activities, chambers have committed to promote global interconnections and exchanges between local, national, and international chamber networks, and help companies, especially SMEs, to adapt to the changing digital world and implement new e-commerce, e-business techniques, and the best practices. A modern and future-oriented society depends on entrepreneurs, people that risk-takers, innovators, and investors. The ongoing trend of expanding the duties and obligations of entrepreneurs make it necessary to define their basic rights, rights that cannot be derogated from except in accordance with the standards identified in another crucial document of WCF, our guiding principles for chambers in shaping legislation defending entrepreneurs' rights. The purpose of these guiding principles is to recognize the right of the entrepreneur for freedom of management and to respect their contribution to the state economy. They are also designed to support chambers of commerce in shaping legislation in defending the rights of their local entrepreneurs and the members. Entrepreneurs have the right to work together, and through chambers of commerce and business associations, take common actions in accordance with law. Ladies and gentlemen, these 2 new papers help us to define our community, our identity, and our vision. So the next 3 days are all about sharing our chamber expertise, boosting our capacity building capabilities, and leveraging chamber innovation to benefit business communities in all parts of the world. We have put together, I hope so, one exciting program that responds to your calls for pragmatic workshops, business matching activities, and valuable networking opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, change is the main characteristic of our time, favoring those who are prepared and courageous of mind. During their long history of over 400 years, chambers have continually proved that they are able to respond positively to changes. And they have not been only passive participants, but also active actors. Moreover, in many cases, chambers also been the initiator of the changes, of many changes in our societies. And I am very glad that today's first panel is dedicated to global trade in the 21st century. And it is the very first time in the history of our Congress that the spirit of ICC policy works is reflected. The following 2 days with key panels on the global mobility and sustainable world, food, energy, and natural resources will also raise topics that shows our courage, the courage of the Chamber, to also devote ourselves to delicate but vital topics of today's world. So, in return and to conclude, I count on your passion and active engagement to make this both a dynamic and memorable Congress, and a Congress that furthers our goals of unleashing the potential of our unique chamber network. And I look forward to meeting many of you over the next few days. Thank you very much, and enjoy your stay here in Torino. Grazie.
So let's thank Mr. Mihok, and now please welcome to the podium the Chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce, Terry McGraw.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome, Your Excellencies, Mr. Mayor, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. People have come from a long ways to come and to be a part of this Congress. And the question that we have to focus on is when it's all done, 3 days, when it's all done, what's happened? What comes out of this? People know that this Congress is meeting. People know that we have a very extensive agenda that goes through every major component of our economies, of our societies, and then we're trying to come up with conclusions that we can act on that will bring positive change. So what are they? What is going to be the result of the next 3 days? And I think that for each one of us, we have to be a part of coming up with that conclusion. And if someone asks us, why did you go to Torino? Why did you become part of this Congress? And what did you learn? And what did you conclude? And that is our mission to come up with over these 3 days. We can talk about lots of different issues. We can talk about specifics and the like. But what are the major themes that come out of this Congress that people are going to get excited about, and they're going to be energized and motivated to be a part of doing something that's going to impact other people and other people's lives and other societies on that part. I am the chairman of the International Chamber of Commerce. We have over 6 million member companies. We have 130 national committees in 130 countries. We have 11 policy commissions, and we have the Court of Arbitration. We have the ability and the extension to be able to leverage our capabilities in a lot of these different areas. But all of this has to be about raising the expectations in people's minds of what it is, not the organizational structures that we have and the like, but raising in terms of people's minds the expectation of what it is that we can do with all of our capabilities. And so over the next 3 days, we have this wonderful, wonderful opportunity to do just that. to really rethink about our agendas and to be able to come back with a conclusion of here are the priorities that we want to focus on that are going to generate the capabilities that we want on that part. So, and by the way, our Secretary General, John Danilovich, who's right down here, I hope you get the chance to meet him over the course of this. He has a marvelous background and is really leading a terrific effort with ICC in terms of achieving the objectives that we're looking for. What are those objectives? The first objective that we're all about, and better be all about, is growth. World GDP growth is a little over 3%. It's way too low. Coming out of the G20 in Australia last year, they came up with an objective that over the next 5 years, we want to raise the world GDP growth to 2 percentage points above that trend. So that would be over 5%. Now, most people, you and I, would probably sit back and say, over 5 years, over 5% world GDP growth? I don't think so. Well, as we go through this agenda over the next 3 days, let's think about how we get there. Let's not think about it's impossible. Let's think about how we get there and how we do it. What a fabulous objective. And by the way, if you get that kind of growth, what is going to happen is that so many people are going to be positively impacted. So many people are going to be in a position where they're going to be able to take advantage, and they're going to improve their lives and the lives of their families and the lives of their communities in all of that. And that is one of the responsibilities that you and I have in terms of going through this agenda over the next 3 days, that we want to come back with some conclusive priorities in terms of how we do that. So the first objective is all about growth. How do we achieve a higher level of growth? So we can talk about, in terms of the agenda, we can talk about specifics and how we're going to conclude on climate change or this or that or whatever. But in the end, it has to be all about growth. If we aren't achieving a higher level, then people aren't going to benefit. And that's why we're here, because we're here to help other people benefit from our world condition on that one. Secondly, it's about job creation. And if it's about job creation, how do people then have the wherewithal to be able to get into sectors, to get into industry, into business, into societal opportunities, to be able to contribute on that part? And if people aren't contributing, I think we've got a problem. On that one. And your responsibility and my responsibility is helping to find ways, paths, to helping people to contribute, helping people to be a part of the solution, not on the other side of it. And therefore, if it's all about growth, then it's all about finding ways to help people find ways to contribute and to participate. And if we are able to do those two, both in terms of growth and job creation, then we're going to have higher levels of prosperity. And higher levels of prosperity are going to lead to a lot more expansion, whether we talk about global supply chains, SMEs, new innovation, new creativity that the mayor was talking about here in Torino, on that part. But we're helping others to find a path to that way. And higher prosperity is going to lead us there. What we also want to see is the expansion of our middle classes, wherever our communities are on that part. Because again, if we're talking about raising the expectation in people's mind of why we're here and what we're doing, what we're trying to achieve, okay, then it has to be all about inclusion. It has to be about how do we find more and more ways for people to participate, to be a part of all of this, to be a contributor on that part. And so for you and me, we have to renew our commitment to doing this. We're not here because we're just going to spend 3 days talking about wonderful subjects and all of those kind of things. We're here to make a commitment and we're making a commitment to higher growth and job creation and prosperity, expansion of our middle classes, and innovation in technology through small and medium-sized enterprises. That's what we're trying to solve for. That's what this agenda is all about. Those are the objectives: growth, job creation, prosperity, expanded middle class, and SMEs. That's what it's all about. And so when we're sitting in these sessions and we're talking about this growth agenda and all these different aspects, ask yourself, is this leading to higher levels of growth and job creation and so forth of our objective, or is it not? Or are we just talking about ourselves? And when we leave here after the 3 days, you and I have to answer to others about what it was. What did we do? What did we achieve? What did we accomplish in all of that? And so our objectives are clear, our commitments are clear, our inclusion in terms of networking are clear. I would also give you very clearly in terms of an agenda, the focuses and that have to take place more broadly in all of our discussions on that one. One, in coming out of 2008, we had probably the worst financial crisis that devastated the advanced economies. We can never have that happen again on that one. So one of the objectives that we need to be talking about in all of our agenda, is the capital markets, financing for growth. How do we, and not to point blame and put people in the crosshairs and all of those kind of things, but how do we make our structures more secure, stronger, more capable, such that we can never go through something like that again? But by the way, with the financial crisis and the effect that it had on the advanced economies, the silver lining was the growth, of emerging markets. And how exciting. We have Singapore, you have Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam. Look what happened to those countries. They're all growing 4 to 8% in that time frame. They were the beneficiaries of that crisis on that one. And by the way, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, same thing. So we're starting to see an expansion of the world. And by the way, when people talk about, world growth and all of those kind of things, people need to understand that if you go back 4 decades, the United States, Europe, and Japan were about 85% of world GDP. Why do they care about the rest of the world? They didn't. Why? Because they're growing fine and nobody else is growing and all of those kind of things. Today, those three, the United States, Europe, and Japan, are a hair over 50% of world GDP. It's estimated by 2030, which is an eye blink, 2030, that those three will be a hair over 30% of world GDP. And it's not the numerator, it's the denominator. The rest of the world is growing up, and it's growing up at a very rapid pace. And why this Congress is so important is because now, in terms of inclusion, we all need each other badly. We need to partner. We need to find more reasons to work together, to contribute together. And that's what the whole notion of inclusion is about. And so if we're doing those kinds of things, and if we walk out of here 3 days from now, having come up with some very clear, specific priorities, we're going to help make this a better world. We're going to help more people to contribute. We're going to help more societies to take ownership of what it is that they're trying to do to achieve that level of growth and job creation and so forth on that part. So growth, job creation, prosperity, expansion of the middle class, and SMEs are very critical to that. Second priority in terms of an agenda is human capital and education. If you are part of a society that doesn't have the skills and the capabilities for the jobs of today and tomorrow, you're going to be left behind. And therefore, in terms of how we treat human capital and how we respect the whole initiative and the drive of education and skill development and capable with technical skills, is our responsibility. This is something that when we come out of here 3 days, we have to have some notion of what we've done with human capital and education and the skill development that is going to help rise the capabilities of the future workforce. Thirdly, we have to focus in on a discussion on investment and infrastructure. Both are critical. When we were living, and go back to the first one in terms of financing for growth in capital markets, when capital demand was that big, okay, banks were providing the capital to satisfy that demand. Today, the capital demand is all the way up here, and banks are still providing the same percentage of capital that they were. Where's that coming from? Where's that investment coming from, and how do we encourage it, and how do we want to allocate it to the kinds of projects that are going to be so important that are going to initiate the kind of growth that we're looking for? And we are also going to be talking, in just a minute also, we're going to be talking about trade and the role that trade played. We have the most robust trade agenda that we've ever had. We had a very ambitious multilateral agreement that we were all trying to resolve with the Doha Development Agenda, but we had too much disparity between too many countries, and so it wasn't time is right. It will work. Doha will work. The timing is off on that part, but we've broken it up. The WTO has come up with a trade facilitation agreement. Thank goodness on that one. So crossing borders is easier. Customs and processing, all of those kinds of things are going to be a lot easier on that one. The WTO has a services agreement, an international service. And by the way, manufactured goods was all the way up here for most countries, especially the advanced economies. Okay, services were down here. Okay, it's the other way around now. Services are up here around the world, and manufactured goods are here on that part. So for the first time, the World Trade Organization has put forward an international trade agreement on services, and we got to help get behind that, support that. And Director General Roberto Azevedo is one talented individual that has a great team that can pull this off. We also have an IT agreement coming there. We have 2 plurilateral agreements, both the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the Transatlantic. So, again, we'll be talking about trade as a component, but financing for growth, human capital and education, investment in infrastructure, and trade are going to be cornerstones of some of our discussions coming out of this today. So I say again, one of the things that you and I have a responsibility to do is not just to go to meetings, not just to go through the agenda and all of that. What is it that we want when we come out of here in terms of priorities that we're going to go back and communicate and put the energy behind to make it happen? Because it's all about growth and job creation, and we can measure that. And if our job and our agendas don't produce that, then we shouldn't be meeting in all that. So you and I have a responsibility. And I know we've got the energy and the enthusiasm to do it on this part, but that's why we're here. This is an important 3 days, and people know that we're meeting. People have high expectations, and they're waiting to see what comes from this. And you and I have a message to send. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. McGraw. Now for some few concluding words, I would like to again have here the Torino Chamber President, Vincenzo Ilotte.
Grazie. So thank you. So I would just say 2 things. First of all, grazie to all of you. Grazie Piero, grazie Terry, grazie Peter. By listening to what it has been presented today, I think that Piero talked about peace and prosperity. I think that Terry stressed a lot the concept of prosperity. And this makes me thinking about something. The common mission of ICC, WCF, and the Chamber of Commerce is one, is to promote peace and prosperity through global trade. And so for such reason, I think that would be nice if we can send a message to the world. This message would be, we want the peace. So for such reason, I kindly ask you to join me and to stand up, if you can stand up with me. And we can stay a few seconds thinking about peace. If you want, you can pray God. If you want, you can do what you think. If you can take the hand of your neighbor, I think this would be a nice message to the rest of the world. The global community business want to have peace. Thank you. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, now, dear gentlemen, you are free to leave the stage. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a great round of applause to these four wonderful gentlemen. Mr. A dopo. Ah, you can continue it, eh? It's important. Now, please, we just permit to some of them to leave the auditorium, but keep seated, please. I invite you to keep your seat because we are going to continue. And by the way, the program leads us to images, how important images are. And maybe you don't know, Italian cinema was born in Torino at the end of the 19th century. So let's pretend that I'm taking you to the movies, and we are going to screen 3 short video clips. The first is simply about our wonderful city, the city that is hosting the 9th Congress, our wonderful Torino, that is offered by the Torino Chamber. Then we have a video clip about our wonderful region, Piemonte, so about tourism and leisure time. And at the end, a video clip presented by the Ministry of Economic Development that is simply about being Italian. So we can start with the screening.